They just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, same old, same old every single day without question. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Can you hear me now? Let me know. Put a thumbs up or whatever. Yes, no. Can you hear me, please? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Great. I'm sorry about that because Jason was here yesterday and he had to turn everything around. And anyway, I forgot to turn on this this thing that you can hear me and you can see me. I forgot to turn it on. But anyway, thanks people for letting me know about being mute. And as Toscana says, I think I've gone deaf. So let's see what you're being saying. Big up Frank and Anthony and chat, says Edward. Hiya, Edward. We've got a great Dickens character here, Barnaby Rudge. You can't make these names up, can you? Only Dickens can make them up. The Ecstasy of Gold plus Ennio Morricone. One of the most powerful, stirring melodies puts us up there. Hang on, I've got to put the fucking hell. Every time. I hate wearing my glasses, these bloody things. Excuse me while I give them a wipe. I hate wearing these. The Ecstasy of Gold stroke Ennio Morricone. One of the most powerful, stirring melodies puts us up there as one of the greatest pieces of music ever written. Ennio Morricone is one of the great conductors, I must say, Barnaby. And there's this one. Ambi, I finally got your email. So I'll be doing, I'll be giving you a little thing tonight after I go, well, after I finish the show. Okay. Lynn Ellis. Evening, Frank and Anthony and all the chat. Hope you're all well. And I'll be saying, yeah, I can hear you now, Frank. Behave yourself. Stop shouting. And buonasera, Franco, Anthony and chatters, says the lovely Tosca. Here he is. Good evening, everyone, says Johan. I've just got to mention these wonderful people. And it's Gap Painting Services who sponsor the Frank Carlyle. All the podcasts that I do, they sponsor them. Gap Painting Services. Wonderful people. Please don't struggle. Get them in. And save yourselves, the struggle of trying to paint and decorate and whatever. Falling, putting paint over your furniture, and get these lads in. They move everything, do the painting, do the decorating if you want decorating as well, and they leave it pristine. They're fully time served, they're fully insured, they're everything, these lads. Everything to do with decorating. These are brilliant, first class. Even get them down, to give you a price without any obligation. And they're very reasonable. And if you're an NHS worker, an elderly person or elderly couple, get them in because you get special discounts. You get special discounts. Don't struggle. I keep saying that. Do not struggle. And that's Gap Painting Services. The sponsors of the Frank Carlyle Show. And our lovely ambidextrous says, thanks, Frank. Yeah, finally got it, Ambi. So I'll be sending you a little note tonight. When I finish the show, I'll reply to your little email. Okay? And the books are here for you. Got them. Jason moved them, but they're still here for you. They're still here. I'll give you my number and my address, and you can come down and collect them. And you can have a cup of tea with me. How's that? Hey, cup of tea with Frank. Or a cup of coffee if you prefer. You can have a cappuccino, or you can have an ordinary latte, or you can have an ordinary coffee. Barnaby. The subject of history, methinks those frequenting the M&S Arena in Liverpool the past few days will be history themselves shortly. Can you elaborate on that for me? Please, because I don't know what's going on down there. I don't read our press, you see. I gave that up a long, long time ago. And I hardly go on social media. So Barnaby, please, let me know what's going on, please. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Barry Elders, even and Frank and everyone, hope you're all well. Thank you, Barry. Yes. I'm not sitting on my cushion tonight because I couldn't get me back. I know it sounds crazy, but I couldn't get me balance right, and I was all over the place with it. So my little back will go later on. And Amber says, good evening, everyone. That's nice. Annie McCann. Evening, Franco, Anthony, and all the Fermo. She's lovely. This girl, as I said, I'm going to be doing one day, I'll be doing a about philanthropists of Liverpool. You know, right up to the modern day, the likes of Paul McCartney, because Paul McCartney's a great philanthropist for Liverpool, believe it or not. And I even go back to the likes of William Roscoe, William Radcliffe, loads of great philanthropists of Liverpool, and I'll be talking about them. And I'll also be talking about this girl here, Annie Mac. What she does is unbelievable. She's a lovely girl, but she helps the poor. She goes to India and helps the poor there. If you see the poor in India, she goes over. So I'll be talking about her as well. And our James, our Jarrett's lad, and John, what they do here is incredible for the people who've got nothing. So that'll be in a few weeks' time. Gary the Rigby. Even if Frank and everyone's still the greatest team ever. See, this football. Do you mean us, like? You don't mean them, those lads after Saturday, do you? Want to say to Franco and everyone, hope you're all well, says the lovely Bella, our Italian friend. And Toscana, my two lovely Italian ladies. You need a bigger cushion, Frank, says Barry Aldridge. Honestly, look, I've got one. It's massive. But try sitting on it. It's horrible. It really is. It really is horrible. I should have come in today and put this a bit further down, you know, the camera, so I can see you. So I've got this. See, this is in the way. This is in the way. Because I can hide behind that, you see. I had the stupid face and just have the voice. Bigger cushion. No offence. Thanks very much, Barry. No offence. And our Ambi says, fabulous coffee, please. Yes. But I'll give you a choice, Ambi. I'll give you a choice, sweetheart. You know, either or. Each coffee, that is. And CW, I'd say, even and Frank, I mate. Hope you're well. Really. The faster tortoise is here with us. All right, everyone. I've got eye floaters. Don't know why I had to share that. It's doing me head. I don't know what's eye floaters? I've got cataracts. And I was talking last night, yesterday afternoon, actually, to a couple of lovely people. And I said, I have to wear these, and I put my shades on. And they said, you've got to take notice. You've got to take notice of your opticians and your doctors. So I might have to start wearing shades, unfortunately. I might do them after break. I'd start wearing them because I get terrible headaches because of the brightness. Irene Evans. Hello, Irene. Evening, Frank, could you give any info on the history of New Brighton and Seacombe Ferry? The smugglers. I spoke about them last week, I think. But yeah, you know, we'll talk about them. No problem. Mia, I thought you left us. Everyone was saying, where's that Mia one? Where's she gone? Where's our lovely Mia? Has someone kidnapped her? We were all worried, Mia. Grazie, Franco. That's lovely words. Ah, Bella. No, I'm telling you, you know, I love my Italian people. Love all the people, to be honest. And lovely Mia says, hello all. Ripped to Lewis Hamilton's dog. Very sad. Mia, listen to me, please. My light's just gone out. Would you can't bear it. Do you know what? I think there's something wrong with me there. Oh, fucking hell. Right, I'll have to put it. Not to worry, I've got other lights, by the way. Bear with me. Ah, blimey, I think everything's going wrong. From little mad cushion or to big cushions to Lewis Hamilton's dog. I'll have to get a new light. I'll have to get a new light this week sometime. Mia, listen to me, sweetheart. I don't use Facebook much, and something came up the other day, and it was about a beautiful little girl. About, I don't know, 3 or 4 years of age, walking around with a little sack on her back, collecting something to start a fire for her parents. And they asked why she was collecting and why not her parents. Because they get shot. And this little girl, most probably, is dead. And there was another beautiful little girl which I shared. A beautiful little child. She had she was dirty. Her hair was, you know, the likes of dust from debris. That's what was on it. And dirt. But she was beautiful. And this fella, whoever he was, he could have been a journalist, I don't know. I think he was, must have been. And he handed her a lollipop. That was the first time she ever seen any generosity in her little lifetime. Think about her. She's about 3 or 4. Beautiful little child. Beautiful. And you should have seen her eyes filled. And she couldn't believe that she was looking at it. She's looking at the fella. Her eyes filled up and she smiled. Well, trying to smile. That was the first time she's seen any generosity rather than evil. What's going on in Gaza? Most probably that beautiful little child is dead. So what I'm saying, Mia, there's a massive difference between Lewis Hamilton's dog and that child. 2 children. Think about it. And I always remember about a little girl who was dressed in a princess. You know, that Frozen princess dress. My little granddaughter had it when she was little. She got one. and you just see her walking up a street, old rubble, where it's been bombed to rubble. And she has all the debris over it. The dress was, and she was walking aimlessly. Most probably walked from a building that was bombed and killed her parents. We don't know. Killed her siblings. We don't know. But most probably she was at a party. And she was walking aimlessly. And I was watching the George Galway show, and I put on a couple of months later. I said, George, does anybody know what happens? She was known as the Little Princess. Does anybody know what's happened to her? And George Galway said, she's dead. So you see where I come about what's happening to children and dogs being run over or whatever happened to them. There's no comparison, sweetheart. I'm not having a go at you. Not having a go. But Lewis Hamilton's a multi-millionaire. He can buy 1 million dogs. Evening, Frank and chat. I'm going to bring in Anthony. He's a bloody nuisance, like, you know. He really is, honestly. I said to him, I phoned him today. I said, I phoned you twice over the weekend. He went, well, I was asleep. I said, asleep? At 2:30 in the morning, you're asleep? I thought you're awake. At 2:30 in the morning. He said, Frank, I was asleep. And the amby says, Faster Tortoise, are you getting enough sleep? They can be due to tiredness or eye strain. I tell you what, I've got to get my eyes done. Everything's wrong with my eyes are starting to close. They're mad. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with our National Health Service. So I might have to go bloody private. So yeah, that's a good one, ambidextrous, because our ambi is a nurse. I wondered if she'll have a look at my eyes. And so Scarlett said, Faster, I've got them as well. Got it in the eye years ago and had them ever since. Got used to them now. Oh, blimey, everything's wrong with us. It's like emergency ward 10. No, I've been dead busy with work, says me. Oh, mate, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I'm not having a go at you, mate. We love you, you know. And good for you, you're working. This man is great. The heightened fatties. Hiya, John. Thanks for looking in. Thank you. Mia, oh no, Paul Lewis. Oh, come on. I've just given you about little girls, 3 little girls. So if you're interested in them, the show's not for you. If you're interested in a dog, whose owner is a multi-millionaire. I'm sorry, but I'm serious. I really am. If they're more important to you than human beings being bombed and fucking shelled and every fucking day and being sniped. You remember little Hind, 6 years of age? How many bullets did she have in her? Was it 350 or was it 530? Not quite so sure. Bullets. Bullets. Not a bomb. Not a shell. Not a mortar. But bullets from machine guns. If you're more interested in fucking dogs, stay with your dogs. I'm sorry. You know I love yous, but this is not for you. This is not a fucking dog show. Halloween settings, my mate, says Callum. And Callum, I thought he was going to come out and say, Keys is not picked. Federico isn't picked. And Ambi says, I float. I've got them myself. Is that what you thought? So I've got them. I've got them. And sometimes I get one and it's mad. It's like zigzag. And it's right in the corner of my eye. It's horrible. And I got one last week where it lasted normally it doesn't last that long. It lasts a while. But this one, and I was worried. I thought it was going to be there forever. Lasted ages. And the Barnaby Rudd says, no one was at the protest outside the Labour Party conference yesterday. Good crowd protesting against Starmer and his cronies. Wacky ideas. There was a good crowd paraded down from Bootle Strand. I don't think they would be allowed, to be honest, to get down there. Is that what you're saying, Barney? I don't follow that. Last year, when there was a general election, I've been voting since I was 18 years of age. It was the first time that I never, ever voted in my entire life. And I've always voted Labour. My mother was a Conservative. Conservative. So you can imagine the fun I used to have as I was growing up. Thought we were going to have a seance, says Toscan. Yeah, we'll have one for Lewis Hamilton's fucking dog. Farmers' protest, wasn't it? Says Faster Tortoise. Eyeballs. Right, I'll go right down and I'll go right down and I'll bring my great friend on. And Mia said, oh, damn, this is sad. I need to catch up with the news. Mia, it's shocking. I say it every week. I don't like saying these things, but they has to be said. And everything has to be put in perspective. It really has. Honestly, Mia, don't be worrying. It was a bit of everything. Farmers, ID card, Gaza. Exactly. The last time I went away, strangely enough, I go to Italy. I only ever go there. And anyway, no, I went to, when did I go? Oh, I went to, I didn't. Anyway, when you get there, I had to take my glasses off and look into these things. And that's the start of ID. That's the start of this ID stuff. Thanks for that, Barnaby Rudge. Thank you, Philomia. And he says, keeping an eye on here. And oh, piss off, I'm not interested in that. Oh, Franco fuming, George Galloway and his missus being detained at Gatwick for visiting Russia. UK busy police state. That's the way Annie talks. She's a big blue. And Mia. Yes, definitely agree. I agree, Frank. I see children every day. Some say they will be all right when I know they won't be. It's so sad. I know that, Mia, darling. I know that, sweetheart. Frank in Palestine, Gaza Strip today, a doctor got shot in his head. See, I don't think anyone just walked up and went like that. Bink. Here's what they did. Telescopic sight. Sniped. Remember that girl? That nurse, like some of our girls are, when she ran out with the white thing to look at a wounded young lad. And there was 2 IDF snipers. And the audio was on. And they were saying, yeah, I'll have a go. No, I'll let me do it. Well, okay, you do it then. And sniped her in the head. And they were laughing about it. Does anything happen to them? No, of course not. Mia, awkward. Yes, it's not great. And Bella, Trump and Netanyahu, loads of bollocks there. He's after a peace, Nobel Peace Prize, this fucking warmongering arsehole, Trump. What's he fucking surrounding Venezuela for? Because he wants the oil. He wants everything. He wants all their resources, which includes gold mines, precious stone mines. They've got more oil than anywhere else on the planet. That's why he wants that. And now he's killing their fucking citizens, fishermen, and saying they're drug smugglers. This is the pretext for him to go and invade. It's shocking what this man is doing. And he's going to give the green light to Iran for Iran to be bombed to fuck. That's what Israel are waiting for. The green light. He's just given. I don't think people realise we're on the precipice of World War III. This is the nearest we're getting because he's just given tomahawks to NATO. Who owns NATO? The USA. The USA is NATO. And he said, oh, I'm giving them to them, you know, and they can do what they want with them. They can sell them to the Europeans. So he's trying to step back, saying, no, that's not my fault. You know, if the missiles go off, these tomahawks, that can go to a couple of few thousand kilometers into deep in Russia. And then you'll feel the consequences. If they do that, because it's American intelligence that has to guide them. Not only that, it's Americans who have to press the button to set everything up on Ukraine soil. I don't think people, you know, nothing will happen. Like you're getting the likes of that Divvy Kellogg, that useless ex-general, whose daughter has got a big business in Ukraine. Oh, is that why he's on Ukraine's side? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Do you understand? And he's saying, oh, Putin won't do nothing. Won't he? Won't he? I think he will. If these fucking missiles start hitting, because what they'll target. He wants to take out, Zelensky's come out and said, I want to take out the Kremlin and all the Russian parliamentarians. That's what he said. Think about that. He's actually said it. Think about that. He's made the statement. He's going to feel the fucking consequences now. That fucking arsehole. Sorry to swear, but it's so... Say no notice of Trump and Netanyahu, Bella, please. Please, 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 please. And Mia says, that was before you told us, Frank. Yeah, look, Callum, he said it was 335 bullets in that little child's body. So you can imagine how many bullets on a head, how many bullets on a little body. She's a 6-year-old fucking child, for God's sake. Standing there, pumping her with these fucking bullets. Why? And then he says, spot on, Franco, fuck the dogs and the IDF. Right, so I'm going to bring in, the Red Bird's got to talk to the Red Bird. Mr. Mystery with the history of today and better still, yesterday. Hope you're good, Frank. Thank you, Red Bird. Good to see you, you know, and getting better, by the way. Getting better from your little scare. Yes, I don't blame you. It's all depressing. I just prefer to stay with the positive vibes, to be honest. This isn't for you then, Mia. I'm talking about Liverpool. I'm talking about Liverpool history. And it's only what you said about Lewis Hamilton's talk. I'm sorry. That's what kicked it off. Because I've got my great mate with me. And Owen says, what's the history topic for tonight, Frank? Everything about Liverpool, everything's going. And the Red Bird, mainstream media spin narratives, doesn't matter what the truth is. With them, they stick to mostly wrong agendas. Yes. And I'm bringing in on that one, I couldn't see him for a minute. There he is. I'm bringing in this fellow. He's been waiting patiently. Very patiently. This wonderful man, good friend of mine, who sleeps at 2:30 in the morning. And he said, I'm always awake, Frank. Ring me anytime. Rang him up. Sleep, Frank.
I am always awake. I'm asleep.
Oh, well, there you go, you say. Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good, Frank. Yeah, good. I'm good. And good evening, everyone. I know
it shows you, doesn't it? You know, like, I'm going to show something there. The very first thing I'm going to show. Right. Just bear with me here, people. Now have a look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Do you know where that is?
At first look, I thought it was the Venetian Bridge.
Well,
Of
It's
course,
beautiful, isn't it?
absolutely.
Okay, I'll tell you where it is. Do you know Pall Mall?
Yeah,
Right, you know Pall Mall, don't you? Well, do you ever remember that, at the side, if you're walking up Pall Mall from Tyne Barn Street, and you look to your left, you're walking up from Tyne Barn Street, you're walking over, and you look over to the left, and it was like all rubble and whatever, right?
yeah,
And they made a garden, so they made a garden because that's the site where that thing stood. Because in front of the top one there, in
yeah,
front of the top one, is Exchange Station. And the facades are still there. And they pulled all that down. You can't make it up, can you?
no. I remember going in Exchange Station when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, me and my mates, we were walking down at Tyne Barn Street. We heard a load of screaming. And we said, what's going on? So we ran in. It was one afternoon. And we ran in, and do you know who it was? The Osmonds. The Osmonds.
I'd be screaming if I saw them. I'd be running 6 miles
The other way. I'll tell you what my mate said. He said, oh, fuck this. Especially when we see little Jimmy coming out. Marvellous. Marvellous. Yeah, so it just shows you what we've actually pulled down. This city. It's shocking. It really is shocking. It is though, isn't it? I'm not being funny.
No, you're not being funny. And it is shocking when futurist, the whole block.
The whole block. Why didn't they keep that facade?
Well, supposedly it was crumbling from the inside, and they tried to salvage sections of it and couldn't. But
Do you believe that? Because I don't. I'm telling for why. Do you ever remember Conversation Row?
yes,
Now, Conversation Row, I've got pictures here. I'm not going to dig them out. Now, Conversation Row, as a row of beautiful, it was Georgian. Every row was Georgian. And even those during the 18th century were exempt from window taxes. The only one in the country.
Yeah.
Commutation Row. That's why it was called commutation. So they were exempt, right? Now, then there was a couple of pubs, just some things were made into pubs, which I used to go into, by the way, where I lived in Jerry Gardens, Jerry Crescent. I used to go in there, meet the lads, and just go wherever we went into town. And but right in the middle of it, I'll get a picture up sometime. Right in the middle of it was the very first blind school in the entire world.
Yeah.
Edwin Rushton opens up a blind school for people who became blind. And some of them were sailors. And do you know how they became blind? It was with I forget what the worm was called. Was it a tit? No, that's a fly. A worm used to get into them, through the Achilles. The heels, your heel.
Yeah.
And they used to go right through your body into your eyes. Even during the slave trade, there was a lot of slaves who were blinded by them, and they became useless. So by the time they landed, so God knows what happened to them. God knows. I think they were just killed because they were useless. They couldn't work at anything. So sailors with this particular worm that got into your ankles and that, and just went right through your body to your eyes, blinded you. You don't know what will, you know. But the futurist, as I said, I don't believe it for the simple reason that two buildings, one was the commutation row, and they said, oh, it can't be fixed. Oh, fuck off, because there was people still working in there. And they were saying it was unsafe. No, they were pulled down simply because greed and building flats and whatever. Commutation row. That was the greed. Oh, we'll get money.
Yeah.
We'll build new, you know.
The Lime Street buildings, the street of them, 40 years, Frank. They were privately owned. And no one did anything to them.
No. And I'll tell you another building right at the bottom of Duke Street. And the name of this, let me explain. It was the Casatali building.
Yeah.
Casatali building. Very historical in Liverpool terms, the Casatali.
Yeah.
What had happened was they saying, oh no, it's fallen down. No, it wasn't fallen down. It would have just cost them more to repair it. So they decided to pull it down. They fucking murdered over it. So they built Casatali from the same brick, if you know what I mean, which was a lot cheaper. But they should have saved the original. Do you know what it's like? I'll tell you what it's like. Would you be pleased if, say, the Liver building or St. George's Hall was pulled down and rebuilt again with the same brick? It wouldn't be the same, would it?
No.
There you go. Simple as that. It's really annoying, to be honest. It's really annoying. I'll be talking about that after the break. After the break. Because I just want to go through some of these wonderful things. And Barney B says, what game of chess is Erdogan playing with Donald? Interesting words saying they reached shared understanding on Gaza. I don't trust Erdogan, never have done. Never ever have done. Erdogan. Horrible man. Anthony, says me. Big smiles for you.
Mia, it's nice to be with you again. I'm so sorry you've had a busy time. That doesn't bode well, really. Your gracious commitment to human life.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. I can't get my physio. Been waiting for 3.5 years because certain other people are a priority. And I'm fucking left like this. I'm going worse and breaking down. My body is breaking down. It's gone worse.
We'll get you out St George's Hall, top steps, and we'll throw each other down the stairs. I guarantee you'll be seen then.
Oh, we guarantee I'll be seeing little angels. Angels' wings coming for Frank to lift me up somewhere. Anyway, Callum says it's that duo, Franthony. How about that? Eh?
Sounds like a Eurovision band.
It's Franthony. Owen Lee. Evening, Anthony.
Good evening, Owen.
The lovely Annie Mac. Evening, Anthony.
Oh, Annie. Good evening to you, Annie. Looking forward to catching up when you go to Frank's.
And lovely Bella. Hi, Anthony. Hope you're well.
Thank you, Bella. I am, and I hope you are too.
And Gary says, I remember going to Southport from here. Are you one of those lodges? He's in the lodge. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, Gary, you got to Southport from there. They tried to make the line up to Scotland, believe it or not. But you could get to, North Lancashire.
Yeah.
North Lancashire. The lovely Ambi. Good evening, Anthony.
Oh, ambidextrous, good evening to you. Thank you.
And Gary says they knocked off a Liverpool down. It started in the early 70s. It started before then. And I understand what you're so right. Don't get me wrong, you're so right. But when you look at what they did knock down, where they shouldn't have knocked down before then, in the 50s, 40s and 50s, they knocked down. God, bro, I've got this fucking itch again every time. So depressed when I get this itch. It's all over me. Anyway, what they knocked down, 1948. They knocked down the overhead railway, the very first overhead electrified railway in the entire world. The entire world. And the Chicago and New York, they came over, their engineers, and went, how the fuck did you do that? And they showed them. So they started to electrify theirs. And we pulled it down because it needed 2 million quid. And they said, oh, well, it's we've just come out of a war and, we can't afford it. So they fucking pulled it down for greed to demolish it.
As luck would have it, we did have a group of councillors who were in the building game.
Yes. The demolition game.
Yeah.
The demolition game. Because they knew with it being bombed, Liverpool being bombed, that they'd have to go in and start fucking pulling things down, so they were made up. Yeah. And one of the pricks, he went like that. He said, my firm will do that, my firm will take it down. And it was that strong, he went bankrupt. He couldn't do it. He went bankrupt, his firm went bankrupt.
No sympathy.
No sympathy whatsoever. And then they pulled down the 7th Customs House. And then Sendry went into the 7th Customs House.
Yeah.
Right, I'll show you it. If I bring it on, then we'll go to the break. Just bear with me on this, people.
Yeah.
Please. Right, watch this. This is what they knocked down. There's the Albert.
Yeah.
Where am I? There it is. They knocked down this beautiful thing, bigger than St. George's Hall, more columns than St. George's Hall. It had 32 columns in total. And they pulled it down, Anthony, because an incendiary bomb went in there. And as it went in, all right, it destroyed that part, but not destroyed it like blow it up or anything. They didn't blow it up or anything. It just gutted it, especially when the fire brigades there putting it out. So it was gutted, and there was preservationist Stephen then saying, "Don't pull it down. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Just imagine that being there on Shabbat Park now.
Oh, just sensational. Be wonderful. But behind the scenes, there was a deal going on with our American compadres, wasn't it?
Exactly. And what they were doing, the Americans loved that. They'd always loved it. And they went, "Hey, listen, can you pull it down brick by brick and we'll buy it off you? There's your corruption." And they went, "Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, we'll pull it down, lads, okay." And then they got fed up with waiting. They said, "No, that's taking too long. You can stuff it." And you can actually find some of the brick of the Custom House in Anfield Cemetery, believe it or not, because they were storing it.
Wow.
Got to look for it, like, all numbered. Isn't that shocking?
Yeah.
It's shocking. Shocking. But we'll have a look at the map later on.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore. It's what we've done. Look, I've said this, you've heard me saying this many times, that the city planners are not from Liverpool.
Yeah.
So when they go like that, the city planners are told, "Well, what about this? Would this be all right?" "Yeah, pull it down. No problem." Pulling it down. Look what they wanted to pull down just a few years ago. They wanted to pull down the Lyceum, for God's sake. Pull down the Lyceum. They already destroyed Central Station when they pulled, the facade out.
Yeah.
That is actually joined onto the Lyceum. They pulled it all down. It was Romanesque, and they pulled it down. I'll show that in a minute. I'll show it in a minute later on when we put the map back up. So if RJ's there, we can go for a quick break. Make a cup of tea. This is the famous Cunard building, the middle of the Three Graces, built in 1916 by Villing and Thicknessy. Samuel Cunard came over from Canada in 1848 and set up the famous Cunard Line. The most famous ships of the Cunard Line are the Lusitania, the Mauretania, and of course the Queen Mary, which incidentally was designed in this building. If you would have been lucky enough to have travelled on one of the Cunard's liners, you would have seen a similar stairwell to this. There was no expense spared because the shipping lines at the time were so lucrative, and as you can see, the sumptuousness of the interior. The architects Villing and Thicknessy deliberately kept a part of the original dock wall built by the French prisoners of war.
It's a little bit different, as you can see down here, from the lavishness upstairs. And through this door is Liverpool's architecture unseen, and the wall built by the French prisoners of war in 1807. So follow me. Here is the original wall that was deliberately left by Willing and Thicknessy. And there it is. This is the magnificent boardroom where the plans for the Mauritania and Cunard's flagship, the Queen Mary, were actually designed. The boardroom is a masterpiece in itself. Just look at the spectacular views of the Mersey. Incredible. This corridor is based on the Queen Mary first class passenger corridor, and just look at it, it's absolutely magnificent. Today, the offices are used for legal services, and they still have to make a cup of tea, but in this case, it's no ordinary kitchen. They have their own galley, or, as in this case, their own mess room. Further down into the Cunard building, here we find the original air raid shelter that the people used during the Second World War, the people including the staff of the building and also the armed forces. How do we know that it's the air raid shelter? Because all the clues are still here to say that it was. Let's go further back to the early part of the 20th century, when the passengers who were actually sailing from this building had to leave their luggage in these racks here. Everybody's talking about smoking bans. Well, let me tell you, it's not a new thing. You could easily be deceived by looking at this place. It could easily be a brig, a bridewell, a jail. In fact, it's as safe as ours, and I'll tell you why. Behind these steel doors, the first-class passengers had all their valuables, whether they be famous paintings from Europe, furniture, jewels, everything, and they hired these safes for safekeeping. The rooms were very basic, as you can see, but at least all the valuables were kept safe, except this one. Maybe they forgot the key and never returned.
I remember you took us down there to those rooms, and there's a real sense of poignancy there, and with the items that when collected, stuff, it feels like you walked into a private room where there's
Yeah.
like a conversation going on.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very emotive. Yeah.
It was great then, you could go into the buildings, and unfortunately no one can get into anywhere, especially St. George's Hall, where you have to pay, which is absolutely shocking. It's just like getting money. We've got to get money in from somewhere. Let's charge them. It's a public building. They shouldn't be charged for public buildings.
Yeah.
Barnaby Dodge says, is that Anthony Brown, the artist guy? Wow. Seen some of your Talking Heads collection in the Maritime Museum back in 2007. Is there anywhere I can see your work? Says Barnaby Rudge.
Well, Barnaby, that's lovely of you to mention. But at the moment, no, there's nowhere where it's. But I'm working on something. I have to have a gap to my dear friend there, and at some point next year, I hope so. Hope so.
Okay,
Thank you.
lovely?
Yes.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And Annie says, also should have kept our Zucker's umbrella. The stadium, our very own Madison Scouse Guard. Do you know what? It was. I don't know whether you're aware of this, Annie, but it was the very first purpose-built boxing stadium in the whole of the country, and we knocked it down. Even the Futurists, believe it or not, was the very first public cinema in the city centre. But you had one of, what's the name of the street? And believe it or not, it was the very first cinema in the whole of Liverpool, in the whole of the country. And it's up by where Walton Church is. I forget the name of the road. And it became an auction room. And that was the very first cinema in the whole of the country.
Wow.
I forget the name of the road, unfortunately. My mind's not as it used to be, unfortunately. Scouse, yeah, Madison Scouse Garden, you're right there. What a beautiful name. And we pulled it down. I seen, I tell you who I went to see on there. I went to see Mott the Hoople.
Okay, yeah.
Hawkwind, and one of the up and coming bands, and I didn't even know at the time until someone reminded me by an email, not on here. I was with Tony Snell, and it was Queen. So I seen Queen.
Wow.
Before they became famous. They were just the up and coming bands, a support band. Incredible.
Well, Gallagher, Rory Gallagher's the American blues player. He loved playing there.
Well, there you go. And Jason says, my internet is a bit slow tonight. Apologies all. Tried to get pics of Commutation Row up, but he'd moved on before I could get them. There's a slide loaded with the bomb damage from the Custom House. Evening goal.
Evening, Jace. Thank you.
And Vitali, see, no one knows that I can speak Russian, you see, because that's Vitali there, with his little Russian name. And he says, I've watched a few of Frank Carlyle with him. Didn't know he was a painter. So we'll look him up for sure. Comes across as a nice person. That's you, not me. Oh, blimey, everyone's a nice person and they're all loving each other. Nothing about me, is there?
We love you.
He seems a nice person. Thank you, Vitaly. He is a nice person, I must admit. That's why he's on with us every week. Twice a week. Because what do we have on a Wednesday? Tell them what we have.
We have our history of literature, where we
And
join all the dots,
yes, yes,
why it was written, when it was written, in spite of all the odds.
yes. Incredible. Incredible. And Toscana says, check out Anthony's Instagram page. Great artist. There you go.
Wow.
That's from
Thank you,
Toscana.
Colin. Thank you all for your kind words.
Yeah, look, Barnaby says, Charles Laureate was on the Titanic sister, RMS Lusitania, intending to deliver Dickens's personal unnoted copy of A Christmas Carol to a client, but the book was lost when the ship sank. The Lusitania.
Wow.
And you know, I don't know whether you're aware of this, Barnaby, and the rest of the people. I don't know whether you're aware of it either, Anthony, unless I've told you privately, that the Lusitania was lured to where the U-boats were,
Yeah.
so that the U-boats would sink her because there was American passengers on it.
Yeah.
And you know why it was lured there to be sunk?
From my understanding, is to attract America into
The war. And who led them into it? Who allowed them to go? Who allowed the Lusitania to get into waters infested with U-boats?
The so-called greatest Englishman.
The first Sea Lord.
Yeah.
Churchill himself.
Yeah.
And, you know, they say, like, you know, Churchill was great. His blood on his hands. I always remember in 1910, there was a strike by the miners because it was shocking what the miners were going through in Tonopandi, Wales. And they said, listen, we've got to try and sort this out. You know, these people need money because they're actually starving. And Churchill said, if they're starving, fill their bellies with lead.
Yeah.
That's what kind of a person he was.
Yeah. What a bastard. My great uncle Thomas was a survivor on the Lusitania. He was a trimmer.
Yeah.
And when the people who were alive were rescued, any crew members, and a great many of them were from Liverpool, as you can imagine, were told, no boat, no job, no money, find your own way home.
You know, there are so many stories associated with things just like the Lusitania. So many stories. And it's always something to do with politicians. Always something to do with politicians.
Yeah.
And it's always, no matter how you look at politicians, Anthony, you know, they're not the people who you'd expect them to be. You're not the people. You've only got to look at the legacy of Tony Blair and what he did with Iraq. Went in with the Americans.
Yeah.
Told lies about weapons of mass destruction and biological warfare, everything. 1 million Iraqis died. Lovely Annie says, "Church, you horrible, greedy, murdering bastard. Face like a tin of corned beef."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, sorry, go on.
And a shit painted as well.
Did you have to do that? Was a kick. That was below the belt there about church. Didn't he? Wasn't he responsible for 240,000 deaths of Indians? I'm not talking about the indigenous American. I'm talking about ordinary Indians.
Yeah. And he was responsible for sending the troops up to Liverpool to shoot strikers.
Thanks very much, because that's what I was going to say. A year later in 1911, and he did worse. Because what you've got to understand, it's like now, Anthony. We're on the precipice of a nuclear war. Armageddon. We won't survive. We're gone. We're finished. You and I and everybody else. Right. Now, what was happening, and it goes even back to the 1871 Franco-Prussian War, and the seeds were sown then for the First World War. So they knew, even in 1891, when the German came out, Schlieffen, and he had his plan, and his plan nearly worked, but this is in 1891. He wanted to entice the British over onto French soil, take on the French, take on the British, beat them, and just march eastward to the Russians. That's what the plan was. Now, that's in 1891, the Schlieffen plan. So the seeds were already sown, you see. And especially in 1884, when Bismarck, he gathered everyone together, the likes of the Prussians and the Saxons. And he said, "Hey, listen, Saxonia." He said, "Hey, listen, we'll become one mighty Germany." And he did. So everything was pre-planned for the First World War. So what had happened was, when that strike was on in Tonopandi, they quashed it. They quashed it right away, fill the bellies full of lead. And that was gone. So when Liverpool went on strike, now, see what the government were thinking. There's an imminent war. And we cannot afford to have anarchy throughout the country. Because we were all on general strike everywhere. All the transport was stopped. From the sea going to the land going. Everything had stopped. Everything in Liverpool. Anyone who was working, strike. Anyone, no matter what job you were doing. So we went like that. They were talking, the government, and they said, "Well, what can we do? What can we do?" And they said, "Well, ask what it was." And he said, "Well, and Churchill just came out and said, well, I'll tell you what, send troops up." And they got hold of the police and said, "Listen, you'll have to do something." This is the Liverpool police. They said, "You'll have to do something about this strike. You'll have to stop it." And they said, "Listen, it's fucking gone again. I think there's a wire loose, Not in my life, but in my life.
Goes to that bleeding dog.
Get calling Hamilton's dog for everything.
I think it was light.
Let there be light. So anyway, He said, so they turned around. I said, listen, this strike will be over. We've got a rapport with the Liverpool people. We can't just go in and start batting charging them because they were told go in and batten them. We'll be the worst in the world. So they went, oh, okay then, yeah. Now, governments never forget. So what has happened, he sent up 6,000 police from Birmingham and Leeds. Birmingham and Leeds, 6,000 police to take over our police force. And they sent up 50,000 armed troops, motorised vehicles, armoured vehicles, they sent up to Liverpool. Think about that, 50,000 armed troops. And Churchill, the first Sea Lord, he said, oh. And he sent 2 frigates up. 2 frigates. Think about that. And they're battleships. They've got big guns. So they sent them up. And after it was all over, the lads never gained anything. 2 lads were shot, by the way, by troops, shot dead. And you know I live near Hopwood Street. That's where one of them was shot. And it was shocking. As I said, the lads achieved nothing really for the strike. There was lots of pandemonium and everything else here in Liverpool. You had one of the greatest ladies of all time who was giving out soup and bread and tea to the workers as they had nothing. And even, people, tramps, what we called them, tramps, back in the day, giving out soup and tea and bread. And that was Mary Bamber. Mary Bamber was one of the great philanthropists. Great philanthropist. And she was the mother of, she had a little daughter, 12 years of age, helping out. 12 years of age, giving out soup, giving out tea, giving out bread to the lads, to the workers, and anybody else who was hungry. And that 12-year-old became known as Bessie Braddock. Bessie Braddock.
A real heroine of the city.
Oh.
A real heroine of the city.
Oh. Absolutely. Absolutely. So she's seen it as a 12-year-old girl. She's seen it reminds me of the poem. I wander through its chartered street near where the chartered Thames does flow. Marks of weakness, marks of woe, and every face of man's I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe. And it's weakness. She's seen it. It's marks of woe. She's seen it as a 12-year-old child. And she went on to become, as you just mentioned, quite rightly, a great politician for the city of Liverpool.
A great heart.
Yes. Yes. Yes, indeed. And as Annie says, you're here, Annie. That's when you said he was a bad painter as well. Let's see. Let's just see one of these before I go on the map. Now, that particular thing, that was the opening in 1906 of the Victoria Monument.
Yeah.
The Victoria Monument.
Yeah.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
But they pulled down a church for that. And that particular church Let's see if I can get it on me. Do you see the building to the right of it with a flag on the top?
Yeah.
People don't realise, these are named, these particular buildings. And that particular building's named Castle Moat House, because that's the site of the castle where Victoria's monument is. And James Street, couldn't think of the bloody street. James Street was a moat. And so was right around the moat, including Lord Street, the top of Lord Street. That was a moat. A moat. And that's why it's named Castle Moat House. You can't see the building next to it, but it used to be called Trials. It was at the Bank of Wales. And,
well, yeah.
And the two lads who built it, again, Bill and Catigna, they made, when I show people, I say, look at the tops. And they built like little turrets, like a castle. And they go, wow, couldn't think of that, wouldn't have never have thought of that.
Wow.
To say, hey, look at the castle, this is where the castle, I explain it all. Can't explain it without looking at it, unfortunately. And Johan says, be trying to send a comment about Winston for 5 minutes, but yeah, keeps deleting it. Big brother seems to love that pug-faced alcoholic. Well, he was voted, wasn't he, Johan, the greatest? Fucking hell, I can't believe it. Or was he voted the greatest? Is it the? I don't know.
Something like the greatest Englishman that ever lived.
Is it him, or was it Thatcher? I'm not quite so sure. I know John Lennon came to seventh.
It was him.
You couldn't vote for Lennon. We couldn't become it because he was such an activist.
Yeah.
And they don't like activism.
No.
That's why John was killed, because of his activism in America, especially against the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Money is made in wars. I forget who said wars are racket. And it was an actual general. Wars are racket. And this is why I don't want to. That's for their Friday night. I'm not getting into it now. If you think Trump's not making money out of the wars, Pack says, Castle Moat House is still Yeah, I know. I do know that, Pack. I do know that, mate. Castle Moat House.
Another little piece of interesting history just around the corner from that is the Sanctuary Stone.
Yes, around the corner, Castle Street, yeah.
Yeah. Did that originate while the castle was still up, Frank? Or?
Yeah, it was there, yeah. It was there. See, why they originated it? Do you know the story of the Merchants of Venice?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
Okay, no, it's okay. Well, you've heard of it, haven't you, Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Now, the Merchants of Venice, Antonio, he had 3 ships out. And that's where his money was. And he was waiting for them to come in. And his little mate went up to him and said, listen, Antonio, can you lend us a few bob? I'm getting married. He said, I've got no money. And he says, yes, sure. But he had no money because he was waiting for the ships to come in.
Yeah.
He was just waiting for the ships. So Antonio went to Shylock and he said, can you lend me some money until my ships come in? Now, you're wondering where I'm going with this, but I will clear it up. And he went, yeah, all right. He said, when are you expecting them? He said, well, I don't know. He said, it's when they get here. He said, how do you know that they won't get here? They will get here. He said, they will. I've got great captains. They're wonderful sailors. They will get here. And you'll get paid. You'll get your money. So he said, okay. He said, if they're not here, and he gave Antonio a timeline. Right?
Yeah.
He said, if they're not here within that time, he said, I'm going to take a pound of flesh off your body. Now, that pound of flesh, that would have been, if that would have happened, he would have been dead. He would have been dead, Antonio, to take a pound of flesh. Antonio agreed. Here's the point. Here's the point. It was happening all over Europe, this. You know, sending out, there was no banks, there was no nothing then. So anyone, like, you know, like Antonio, had to borrow money off money lenders. I'm not getting into the realms of who do you think the money lenders were. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, the money lenders put astronomical prices on, you know, tariffs. They say, well, I want so much percentage of the money when you pay me back. And they had to agree because they had to, you know, okay, yeah. So they got some money in. Right?
Yeah.
Now, we decided then, you know, to put in sanctuary stones because where the businessmen were in Liverpool was in exchange flags. That's where all the businesses was done. All the businesses. So anyway, debtors used to go, you know, there's a fella, he owes me. And they used to shout, you owe me money. And they used to run after them. And if they grabbed them, they were sent to a debtor's prison until it was paid the debt. So they put these sanctuary stones for 2 weeks grace. If you could get on the sanctuary stone, you could claim sanctuary for 2 weeks, open that your ships will come in within that 2 weeks. Because as I said, about ships coming in, they were blown off course and everything. They was just blown off course, so it could be weeks later. Say like they were due in at say the end of July. Let's just say that. Well, with being blown off course, whatever, even stuck in ice packs in the North Atlantic. You know, they could get here in September. August, September.
Yeah.
And these people are waiting, and they're waiting to pay off debts as well. So there was no banks, as I said, just like Antonio. Yeah. So it goes back to Antonio, the merchant of Venice. These things. So the sanctuary stones were laid Castle Street, Dale Street, Chapel Street, and Water Street. That's where the sanctuary stones were. There just wasn't one. But that's the original sanctuary stone. And as I said, you know, the people used to run on there, you know, who owed a debt claimed sanctuary. And the debtors couldn't, like the people who was owed the money couldn't do anything for 2 weeks. But if their ships didn't come in, they were in jail. And this is why steam was very important. Very important when they decided to do these steamships. Because You know, we call ships today liners, don't we?
Yeah.
Because they can go in a straight line. Hence, liners. You see?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
You're not going to believe this, what I'm going to tell you. Honestly. And as Jason says, the Century Stone doesn't work with the taxman today.
No, it doesn't.
Like spring-heeled jack. Do you know the origins of spring-heeled jack?
I know it's a story that's come, and some people relate it to supernatural, but I kind of think it's not. But yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah, remarkable story though.
Right. It all started, who spring-heeled jack was, you've got to understand that this man, do you know where he started off from? Have a guess.
Okay.
Have a guess where he started off from? No, you know, what city?
I always thought that it was a Liverpool or Northwest.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Liverpool it was.
Yeah.
And he used to bounce from roof to roof. He used to just bing over to the roof because he was a burglar. And he always broke into churches as well. Did you know that?
No.
Ill-gotten gains, yeah. He broke into churches. He used to read, he used to steal fine chalices and things, precious stones and
Yeah.
right. But how did he become all over the country? Any idea?
I think I have, but I don't want to blow the story you're going to relate. But
Okay.
He travelled.
Okay. Well, how he was getting all over the country, he was a circus performer. He was an acrobat and trapeze artist. And he was down in London this time. Now, don't forget, this lasted 100 years. And you're going to say, well, how does it last 100 years? I'll tell you. This man, as I said, was an artist. He was a trapeze artist and an acrobat. And an acrobat. So he could leap from roof to roof. No problem. No problem whatsoever. And broke into houses. And I'll tell you, the last place he was seen after the finish. And it'll surprise you. So he was down in London this time. And this lord and lady went out, but he forgot something. The Lord forgot something. So he had to turn back. So when he turned back, he was in the house. He was in his house, well, you know, flat, because he lived in these big flats, you know, like in Mayfair or Kensington or wherever it was. And they had fire escapes. So anyway, he screamed and she screamed, the girl. Now, the lords and ladies in those days had police whistles. So we blew the police whistle. So Springy, he got out and he went up the fire escape. So by the time there was a little fat sergeant who got there and he went, what's going on here then? And he said, Springy, Jack's here. He said, he's just got up that fire escape. And he went, no, then. So anyway, he went up the fire escape and he was knackered. He was absolutely knackered, but he was also afraid. So when he got down, and this is where you come in, Anthony, when you said about, supernatural and all this. He said, this man had big red eyes and he had flames coming out of his mouth. So, he portrays him as a monster. And people were afraid. And it went in the penny periodical at the time the next day. Oh, he's a monster. Springy Jack's a monster. So that's how he was portrayed. So he got dressed up as a monster. Now, don't forget, he was a circus act. So when he went and, if there was anyone near him, what did he do? He had this, whatever it was, in his mouth. And he used to just light a little match and go, spit the fire out. And he wore like a mask with red eyes that glowed. And that's how it was really born from. Now, why it went on for 100 years was it passed on through the family because of very lucrative. Circus artists weren't very well paid. So it was a family business. So it just carried on through for 100 years. Do you know the last place he was found?
No.
Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
You're dying to know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to tell you. I want you to suffer like I suffered phoning you at 2:30 a.m. this morning. I'm horrible, aren't I? I don't know why you bother with me.
Well, you haven't got red eyes. I'll give you that.
But anyway, I'm only joking. I didn't phone him at 2:30 a.m. this morning. Don't be thinking that I'm one of these fellas. I think I can believe. But anyway, he was actually found the last time on St. Francis Xavier's Church around 1910, I think, or 12. How about that?
Wow.
And they reckon that he was the family circus or the circus act was with the Hengless Circus.
Yeah.
Very famous Hengless Circus here in Liverpool, which originated actually in Dale Street.
Jeez.
That's where it originated from.
So of course, when you lay it out, it makes perfect sense. Because if you have developed a set of skills, whatever we do, we pass them down to our children or our family who work with us. Okay, I'm 47 now. I can't be jumping up there, but you do, and so
Exactly.
on and so on.
Exactly. And then he said, because don't forget this fella. I always forget the fella's name. It doesn't bother me, to be honest, forgetting lords' names and where the lords of. And it was just to pacify him and, saying that he spat fire at me. He's got big red eyes. He's a monster.
Yeah.
You see? And because he would have told the coppers superiors that he was a coward. So that just pacified everything.
Yeah.
For what the sergeant said.
Yeah.
And he was overweight, he wasn't fit or anything. And again, he was scared. He was really scared. He didn't want to be climbing on roofs or anything. So you don't blame the man, to be honest.
You don't. So you've developed this myth of superhuman strength. You think no one can catch him, he's so quick. Oh. Wow.
And Barnaby says, if Trump scores a deal approved Tony Blair will be back on the international stage. Looks like Trump's going to pull it off. Key players have agreed to a deal awaiting response from Hamas. And Pac says, couldn't have been the same person if it lasted 100 years.
No. Family.
There you go, Pac. So I hope I've answered your query there.
Pass the skills down the line.
Hey, have you seen Pac Hung Chan's pictures, by the way?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what? He came out and said that they're going to have a street market and foods and I was a love to have gone, you know.
Yeah.
I was a love to have gone.
That was Sunday gone, yeah. We will get to one.
Yeah. I used to go to the Chinese wedding. I'm sorry, the Chinese New Year.
New Year?
Yeah.
Absolutely sensational day then. Or weekend.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And Johan says, so incompetence created a monster. The copper must have thought, I'm in fine health. He's got supernatural. He's a supernatural entity.
Yeah.
That's why Hartley says about, they thought that he was, this paranormal thing as well, supernatural. Because they did.
Yeah.
That's why I never wanted to become a really, a trapeze artist. To be honest. Could you imagine me, Anthony, a trapeze artist?
Well, I can imagine you, Frank. I couldn't do it for one simple reason. I'd get up the ladder on a trapeze and then I'd forget that I'm scared of heights. You'd say, all right, Anthony. And I'd look down and that's it.
Well, mate, I'll catch you. I'll catch you. And as I'm swinging like that, upside down with my arms out, ready to catch you.
Well, for me, it's bad enough getting to the upstairs on the bus. That's as far as I want to go.
I'm going to go to this. So we've got that, right?
Yeah.
We've got this. Just want to go along a bit. And up a bit. I don't know where I am. Bear with me on this. Bear with me. Ah, yes. I know where I am now. Remember when I said about the Victoria's monument?
Yeah.
Now, what's behind me is the castle here, as you know. So they pulled the castle down in 1724 to build this St. George's Church. So they pulled it down there. And it was shocking, really, simply because the castle, I mentioned about preservation of stout and force. about the custom house and the overhead railway. But there was also preservationists to save the castle. To save the castle.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they never succeeded. So when that was pulled down, that was built. That was built in 1724. 1727. St. George's Church. And do you know who the architect was? It was Thomas Steers. You know the fella who built the first wet dock?
Yeah.
And he also built, you're not going to believe it either, I forgot to mention it last week when we were talking about it, because I like giving out, these wonderful architects. He also designed the Blue Coat Chambers. Thomas Steers.
Beautiful building.
Yeah. And that particular building up here, blimey, there's none other than St. Peter's Church, which was built in 1701 and pulled down in 1823 because they said, well, we've got no use for it now because, well, it was the provincial cathedral, wasn't it? It became the pro-cathedral until, they started to build the Anglican. So they said, well, there's no use for this. So they pulled it down in 1923, which is a shame.
Yes.
That's a 1701 building, and they pulled it down. They pulled the, St. George's Church down. As I said, that was built 1727. And the fella, I'll just zoom in. I think I have mentioned this. The fella went in, a great architect went in and strengthened the old tower. And his name was John Foster Jr., one of Liverpool's greatest architects.
Yeah.
And yet he pulls it down to make way for Victoria's monument. Some people will agree with me, and some people will totally disagree with me that Victoria's monument's lovely and whatever. They could have, if they wanted to build it, they could have built it somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's just like those black granite horrible buildings on the waterfront today. And that museum, I don't like that Liverpool museum. They could have built that anywhere on the waterfront. They could have built that anywhere because they took the aestheticness away from the area.
Yeah. No, I get that.
They just took it away. Bowl Street. Now, do you see those three ladies there?
Yeah.
You're not going to believe it. I'm going to tell you something that's hard to believe about those three ladies. Now, you're going back to what, the early 50s, aren't you?
Yeah.
They were what you call today, going back then, the social network. Do you know the way we're talking here?
Yes.
And everybody else is commenting. I'm just using that Facebook and X and Instagram and everything else. Well, they were the X, the Instagram, the Facebook and everything. If you wanted to know something, you ask the ladies.
The gossipers. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I can't point it. Where you see on the right-hand side, the very top, not the church, St. Luke's. What you see there, one of the buildings, which is on the right,
Yeah.
is a restaurant, Italian restaurant. Well, there's 2 Italian restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was born there to Italian parents, was one of Liverpool's greatest inventors, Paolo Ferranti, the greatest Liverpool inventor. And what he did, he went down to London and he lit up half of London. He just lit it up, with a grid.
Yeah.
He brought the grid out and he lit up half of London, with electricity.
Wow.
That's that lad.
Did he get the respect for it and the acknowledgement?
Oh, yeah. But, who else knows? No one. But he got respect then, but not now. If anyone's see, about electricity, 2 of my great heroes is Ferranti and also Nikola Tesla, the fellow who invented it, more or less. Great man. And Pac says, what's the other church on the top, Frank? I just showed you. I didn't see that message. Pac, yes, St. Peter's now. As I mentioned there before. St. Peter's, mate. And Johan, the original Gossip Girls. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You got to be in the know to know.
Yep. You have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, isn't he great?
Yeah.
Isn't he fucking great? Amazing. Thank you. I don't know what's up here until I come on. Jay, thank you so much. All I've got to tell the people about this. I mentioned him before about strengthening St. George's Church, and the one they pulled down to make way for
Yeah.
Victoria's monument. But I will get us up on the map again. But I'll show you. But I'll show the people something. Now, I've got to get. Can I just? I'm going to remove this for a moment, people, because I really need to show. Just bear with me.
Yeah.
I really need to show something. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I hope I've got it. Please let me have it. Yes, got it. Oh, got it. It's only to coincide about that great man. I'm going to show something first on the map. Bear with me, Anthony.
Yeah.
Bear with me, people, please. Right. Right. This is great. This is great, this. Now, this great man who was talking about designed and built this. Designed and built this. He designed and built that. Right? He designed and built that. And he also designed and built this. Now, let me go first. I'm coming back to this. No, I'm not. I'll talk about it now. The fella, this is the finest in the world, by the way, they say. The finest miniature Greek Doric temple in the entire world. It's been proved. It's fact. Not proved. Fact. This is St. James's Cemetery. This is where all the greats were buried. All the greats. There's Huskisson's memorial there.
Yeah.
Right there. He designed that. He designed a causeway where, say, like you went in that way to bury someone, you went down here, horse and carriage, then went back down here to the cemetery all around. Kitty Wilkinson was buried there. Wonderful people were buried there. Wonderful. Great people. And he also designed and built this. And do you know what that is, Anthony?
Gambia Terrace.
Yes, Gambia Terrace. And who lived there for a while?
John Lennon with his dear friend Stuart Sutcliffe.
He certainly did. And I'll tell you who else, which you know. And that was Freddie Mercury.
All right.
Freddie lived there. So he designed Gambia, and it's not named after, it's really Gambier. It's not named after the Gambia because Gambia wasn't even a country at the time. Wasn't.
No. No.
And do you know what got to show you this. Do you see that there? This street here behind there.
Yeah.
Is Percy Street. Excuse me. Jesus. It's got me again. Now, Percy Street's my favourite street, you know. Beautiful architecture. Beautiful. Love it. Really love it. And it's my favourite street. And this wonderful place is St. Bride's. And Mike Story wanted to knock that down to build new apartments. And only for the wonderful residents of Percy Street, they stopped them. And that's still there, St. Bride's. And there's where you can actually see it now.
Beautiful.
Just imagine that gone.
No.
So well done to them.
Is the street that's running up alongside Gambia, is that Huskisson Street?
Yeah, where it's here, you mean?
Yeah.
That's Huskisson Street, yeah. That's Parliament Street there. That's Huskisson Street.
Yeah.
Huskisson's. They're the finest Georgian buildings in the whole of the country. And you know who told me that, by the way? You know that Phil and Kirsty? I've seen Phil outside the Hope Hotel.
Yeah.
Right? The Hope Hotel on Hope Street. And I said, do you realise that we've got the most Georgian buildings, dwellings and buildings outside London, more so than Bath? And he said, yeah. He said, yeah, I don't know. He says, and where he mentions about Huskisson Street and Parliament Street and, Gambia Terrace as well, he said, around there, obviously he was talking about Faulkner Street, Faulkner Square. He says it's absolutely stunning, stunningly beautiful with Georgia. I said, where's Kirsty? He said, oh, she's filming. He says, so we're meeting back here because they were doing something on Liverpool. That was it. That was it. So now we'll get back to this. Because this is St. James's Cemetery, people. And because he was doing so much around, like building the finest miniature Greek Doric temple, and also laying out the cemetery, also building Gambia Terrace, and a few buildings along Percy Street, and Huskisson Street, by the way, one side of Huskisson Street. He says, I'll have to build my home. So I'm living on the site. And that's his own people. That's his house. Wow. And it's bloody well hidden with all this shrubbery here from view when you go down Parliament Street. You just look over or up Parliament Street, whatever way you're going. It's like facing Carnegie Library on Parliament Street, Upper Parliament Street.
Is it not used for anything, Frank?
Do you know what? I think it was used by the university. I think so. Yeah, look. Look at this. Jason saying, my parents' friends used to live in the lodge. He was a retired police officer, and he lived there.
Brilliant.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's one of the great things you see about is home and Jason putting it up.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if just let me remove it a minute. If it's on the map here. Just bear with me. Sorry about this. There it is. There's the house. There it is.
Wow.
There's his house.
Oh, fantastic.
And I just never went along it, you see. There's Parley there, look.
Yeah.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
I just never went along that far. And there's his house.
And the wonderful thing to hear as well is that it was actually lived in after he passed, from people that Jason's family knew.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But a small world as well, because I never had a clue. Never had a clue. And I knew Jason's parents, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I know, his dad unfortunately passed on at a young age. And I know his mum. Lovely lady.
Yeah.
And Mark says, which part of St. James's Cemetery is the gravestone for the Ripper, Frank? Well, it's been dug up, unfortunately. There's only a few. One of them's Kitty Wilkinson. That's, you've got Hutchinson's memorial as well. Oh, do you mean which part of it? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, I'll tell you the part. No problem. Bear with me. I've got to remove it. And I've got to add this again. Right. I'll tell you now where, Mark. Exactly where it was. Exactly. See where you've got the this little miniature thing here. It is the greatest miniature Greek Doric temple in the world. Fact. This is where the cathedral is now. That particular building there, believe it or not, was the cemetery. What was his title? He looked after the cemetery, but he was also a gardener. So he kept everything in pristine condition. And that's where he lived there. Well, this is the site now of the cathedral. All that. The Anglican. And where the other fellow was when you go in. Just around where this little obelisk is there. As you go down the tunnel, that's where he was, just in this little area here.
Wow.
And they were the Maybricks. James Maybrick.
Is it a big tomb or just a gravestone, Frank?
Well, it was a big tomb. It was like one of these things, a big thing. Big thing. Because they're huge, these. Because over there, hang on, gotta get this right. Oh. This side here, good grief. I filmed it. You've got the likes of Oliver Cromwell, but it wasn't the real Oliver Cromwell, obviously. It was a child, and the child was named Oliver Cromwell after, so he must have been a great hero to his parents or his dad or whoever.
Yeah.
Here, you've got a few Americans buried, and one of them is Captain Webb, but not the Captain Webb we knew, because he swam the channel. It wasn't that Captain Webb, it was an American, because there's a few Americans buried there. A few Americans. Oh, I can't think of this group of people who was buried over here. This side. Oh. Freemasons. Freemasons are buried there, and they're buried here as well. Now think about Freemasonry. Think about where Maybrick used to meet his mate, the surgeon, in Hope Street, in the Mason House, which is still standing today.
Yeah.
And that's where these are buried, the Freemasons. God blimey. don't know where I am. Oh, here I am. You enjoyed it?
Absolutely. Yes, Frank.
And this is the great tragedy of our city. One of the greatest tragedies of our wonderful city. And that was the knocking down of the very first electrified overhead railway in the entire world. And we knocked it down for greed. You can't replace it. You cannot replace that. Oh, and it saddens me. It just saddens me.
If ever there's a time we need it, it's now.
Yeah.
With the football stadiums, with the entertainment going on in the city, with the comings and goings of hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. I go mad myself, you know. I really do. So sad. So sad. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed it tonight.
I have.
I really am. And we've gone past the 2 hours, so I hope everybody else has enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know what, there must be a wire loose, you know. In my little, I'm going to try it again. Must be a wire loose. You know my light?
Yeah.
I don't like this big light, so if it kills my eyes. You know me, the big light? Unfortunately. Yeah. Well, that's gone on. I'm sure. So it's not the bulb itself. It must be a wire. So I'll try and fix it tomorrow.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, be careful.
Well, you're at the football tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm doing the watch along.
Yeah.
And Johan said, you know how every couple of years we get a Google Earth update showing how much the region has changed. This Franco Google map shows us all the glorious history we have lost. Thank you, Johan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. And Pac says, great show, Frank. Anthony, Jason, thank you. Thank you, Pac.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pac, you'll have to show some of your pictures. Try and get them sent to us somehow. Send it to the description.
Yes, send them through on your email.
And we'll show you some of your pictures because they're brilliant. They really are. And Johan says, it is incredibly depressing, but in a weird way. It also instills respect for our ancestors and their knowledge. That's a cracker, that, because it is.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
You're spot on there, Johan. Really is, because so spot on, because see, I used to lecture about the Romans, you know that. And I've been to Rome so many times. It's my favourite city in the world. I love Rome. And I always make a visit to the Pantheon. And the Pantheon was built by Emperor Hadrian. He designed and everything, every detail. He designed the dome. And it's my favourite building. And when I go in, I'm looking at it and I'm just in total admiration of it, simply because it's been standing there for over 2,000 years. What buildings do you get today that could stand for 2,000? I'm talking about modern buildings today. And you're getting on. So that's where the knowledge of our lads come in, Johan. They're fantastic. You've only got to look at our I'm just saying this, our neoclassical buildings. They last 2,000 years. And so you go back to these great architects, these great stonemasons, these unbelievable people that built such magnificent buildings. And Pac says, okay, well, email Frank. There you have it. It's off Jason. Just send it to that. FC Liverpool, all one word this is, FC Liverpool pod at gmail.com. So if you've got your camera while you're sitting there, just take a photograph. Take a photograph. And you'll be able to get it, just send them. And we will show them, Pac, if you don't mind.
We will.
We'll definitely show them, Pac, because you're excellent, actually. I love photographs. And look, he must have took a photograph. He must have been sitting there with his little camera. Okay, got it. Thanks, got it. Great. The lovely Annie. Good night, Franco, Anthony, and all. Another enjoyable evening. All says thanks. Al's, how is he? That's her husband, And he came to see me because I've known Annie for years. I said, I've never seen your husband, but he's a southerner. But he's one of these southerners who's he's a gentle man.
Yeah.
What I mean, very gentle person.
Yeah.
Annie will kill me when she says this. The chalk and cheese what Annie is to what else is. But they go over to India, They go over, the pair of them, and help out the poor.
Beautiful.
That's what they're like. That. And I'm very privileged to say that. The friends of mine.
Yeah.
And Pac says, thanks, Gary. So I made up, you send them through and we will show them. Thank you, Pac. You're a good man. And the lovely ambidextrous says, really enjoyed tonight's show. Thanks. Ambi, I'll be sending you an email. Okay. I'll be sending you an email after this. Because I've got your books here. I don't know what Jason's done with them, but they're somewhere here. I have got them, honestly. I showed them the other day. I showed you them, didn't I? They are here. Honestly, God, they are here. I'm looking at my library, which is right here. Are they on there? No. Oh, are they on here? Oh, where they are here, look. Got them for you here. Yeah, look, see. Blaming Jason and everything, saying, where's he put them? He's brought them home and he wants them. Ambi, are yours them, sweetheart. You will enjoy them. You will enjoy them. I'll leave them out for you. Right there. So it'll be easy for me just to grab hold of them when you come down. Oh, lovely. And Bella says, Buonanotte, Franco and Anthony and everybody. Grazie for a great show. Please take care of yourself. Thank you, Bella.
You too, Bella. Good night from us.
So much. Thank you. And Johan says, the patrons of the arts and architecture back then kept the Shylocks and their schemes at bay. Unlike today, where they embraced them and their usury, laying red carpets for them into the boardroom.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, usury. It really is, Johan. Cracking comments. They're all great comments, to be honest. Every one of them. And you're right. Did you lay red carpets for them? It's all the greed, unfortunately. And the lovely Toscana. Grazie e buonanotte, Franco, Anthony, Jason and chatters. Very interesting few hours. Thank you. Try to keep
thank you, Toscana.
Everybody amused. Go on. Sorry, Ant.
No, all I was saying, thank you, Toscana, for your kind words. Yeah.
You see, that's... We try to put over something, you know. There's a Sebastian Ferranti plaque on a building on Bowl Street, says Pack. Yeah. Oh, blame it. Nearly choked then. You see. You're right. But believe it or not, Pac, his proper name was Paolo. Honestly, it was Paolo. Don't die on us, Frank. George, why? No, George, he's never mentioned anything, and he's been watching the show. Why isn't he say, all right, Frank, can you show us another picture of the show? But anyway, people, thank you for that, Pac. You can actually, send it on. Have you got a photograph of it? Send it on to us. And George says, I'm a newbie. Oh, I hope you've subscribed and oh yeah, he has. Look at that, he's just subbed.
Good evening, George.
Thank you, George. Thank you so much, mate.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That lovely.
That is lovely. Yeah.
George White. Hey. George White. Thank you, George White. Thank you, Frank, says Johan, Anthony, Jason, and Legends for another brilliant show. Good luck against Galatasaray tomorrow. sort off of extraterrestrial, Frank, but I got caught at the endless six-pack. See, I told you the six-pack there, them American six-packs, last. Oh, there it is.
Jason.
Honestly, his name was Paolo. Why? I don't know why they put some. Maybe they wanted to, like, it's like our Italian friends, like the Bacinos. Some of them had to change their name to get work, so they became butchers. They've all reverted back now to, to the Bacinos. They come back to the name only to get work, because if you had an Italian name, you couldn't get any work. And the Pericinis, they became Perkins, but they've reverted back, because I know the Pericinis. I know Tony, lovely fella, lovely quiet gentleman, and he reverted back to Pericini. They're very proud names. So, maybe they gave him this, but I don't know why. But his name was Paolo. I read it in, I forget what I read it in. And it was about inventors, and I'm going back years ago. And you never forget the name, like Paolo. Well, I don't anyway. Paolo Maldini. Johan, thank you, Frank. Oh, thank you. Watch it, Watch the other half. You'll like it. And as Trump would say, I like it. I like it. Been a nice evening listening to you both chat away, says George White. Isn't that lovely?
That's lovely. Thank you, George.
Thank you so much, fella. Honestly, thank you, George. Join us again. We do. If you like history, excuse me. If you like history, what you will like on a Wednesday evening, and we always connect the dots. In other words, we do the history of literature, and the history of literature is remarkable, as it applies to today. Put it this way, I'll just leave you with this. What Shakespeare said. No, what Shakespeare said. Twice. Two quotes. What a terrible leader we're living in, as idiots govern the blind. Think about that. As idiots govern the blind. And that's Shakespeare. And he also said, hell is empty. All the devils are here. You see, that's like some of the part of history we do. I hope you'll and that's on Wednesdays. Ah, lovely. Born and raised in Liverpool and still live here. I love our Liverpool history. Thank you, George White. Thank you.
Brilliant, George. Us too.
Yeah. And Jason says, thanks, gents, our chat family and our wonderful mods who remain ever vigilant. Night all. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay. Good night, God bless.
Do you know what? I didn't want to ask Jay, I was here yesterday and I was looking at him. And I said, so, do you want another coffee? And he said, no, I've got to make a move. And I went, oh, okay. Because I was going to ask him something. I was going to ask him, like, if he could do something for me. But I'll have to get up the nerve. He can do it, I know that. He can do it because he's coming down in a couple of weeks. And I just love him to do it. But I'll have to phone him first because he'd have to bring something with him to do to do what I need him to do. It's not much, like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll have to build up the courage. Because you know what Jason's like, don't you? You know, walking around with that baseball bat to us. Just in case we speak out of turn, he starts swinging it. And I can't bloody see. Valerie Di Ferranti, the granddaughter, invented the first disposable napkin. Believe it or not. Go away. Good night. God bless, says Mark Simon. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Wow. Do you know what? Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
You know, we learn something all the time.
Yeah.
Something. And that comes from Mark Simons. Did you know that he's one of these, people, like the first Sea Lord on Gibraltar? He's one of them. You know, he walks around with, that big hat and a big feather out and a big sword and a big long coat. He walks around Gibraltar like that. And that's why he keeps...
That.
Oh, yeah, one of them big hats, with the big white feather, that keeps doing that, when it's windy. What are they called? The lieutenant of Gibraltar. That's what he is. Walks around with a big sword, just in case anyone says, "Give Gibraltar back to them." Spain. Chops. Come here, you. Tries to chop them up.
We learn something new every night.
The suspense is killing me, says Jason. And George, yes, quite correct, George. Every day is a school day. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And on that wonderful note, as Johan says, just goes to show that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Johan. And I just like, listen, we have to go because Jason, we don't want him to come around with this bloody baseball bat, to us. It terrifies us. So we have to leave. So I'll see you on Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? I'll see anyone who wants to join me tomorrow night on the watch along.
Yeah.
Galatasaray game. And as I said, I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I look forward to that.
And for anyone who wants to hear me swear besides tomorrow night, have a look on the Friday night show for the current affairs and what's going on with Trump and Zelensky and everybody else involved in escalation. Thank you so much, people. Good night, folks, says George White. Good night, everybody. Good night, my Italian beautiful girls. And all the ambidextrous, I'll be sending you an email right now. And good night, everybody. Good night, Anthony. Thank you.
Good night, Frank. Thanks all. Thank you.
And I've got to mention Gap Painting Services.
Yeah.
Who sponsors the Frank Carlyle show. Wonderful people. Really wonderful people. Fully time served. And they're fully insured as well. If you're an NHS worker, get them in. You get lovely discounts. And also, if you're an elderly person or an elderly couple, get them in. You too get. And I've gone all dark again. I wonder if that's paranormal.
Yeah. It's either that dead dog or Spring's.
Hamilton's dog. It's like Ken Dodd's dog's dead. Ken Dodd's dad's dog's dead. Do you ever remember that? Well, anyway, Gap Painting Services, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Bella says, "Good night, George." That's lovely. And I think that light has a timer function. Oh, don't be telling me that. What the fuck's that? A timer function?
Time's up. Last orders, ladies and gents.
Lewis Hamilton's dogs aren't yanked. Jason says, okay then, it doesn't. I haven't a clue about timers. I'll have to have a look tomorrow. I'm scared now. Got no light. So I just want to say thank you, Anthony, for tonight. See you Wednesday.
Thank you, Frank.
As I said, I've got to thank everybody. I've got to thank Gap, but most importantly, Anthony, who's who we thank most?
Well, we thank our Jason,
Yeah.
and we thank our beautiful chat family.
That's it. They're the most important, because without them, there'd be no show.
And the wonderful comments take us in directions.
That's why George said we learned something new. We're back at school, more or less, you know.
Yeah.
Because it just goes everywhere, doesn't it, really?
Just that's what we love.
Yeah. Thank you, people. See you footballers tomorrow. See you, all you history lovers and literature lovers on Wednesday. Thank you. Good night, Anthony. Good night, chatters. Thank you.
Good night, all.